Good Sunday morning and welcome to Inside Tennessee. I'm one of your moderators, John Becker. Good to have you with us this morning. We're going to talk about some men who would like to be the Becker, essentially, for Knox County, and they are with us today. This person handles tax collections, tax delinquency, and also some tax relief. 3 Republicans joining us on set this morning. Nick McBride is with us. He's a challenger. The current trustee, Justin Biggs, is with us. Thank you for being here. And Barry Hawkins, also a challenger with us, all Republicans.
Yes.
Thank you for being here. I'm going to introduce our panel, and then we'll get to questions. On the end there is Don Bosch. He is a Democrat, runs his own law firm. Nice to have you.
Good morning, John.
Susan Richardson-Williams is a Republican. She runs her own PR firm.
Good morning, John.
And my colleague, John North, is with us as well.
Morning, sir.
So let's just go down the line, and Nick, we'll start with you. Why do you want to be the next trustee in Knox County?
Well, John, I have spent my entire life in Knox County government serving the people. I have a servant's heart, and I think that there are some deficiencies in the trustee's office, and I think that I can do a better job than the current administration in cutting expenses and cost and things of that nature. I think I can bring my education and my knowledge and shed light onto some of the things that are going on up on the trustee's office.
We'll get to some of those specifics. Trustee Biggs, why are you running for office again?
I'm running for re-election because we've done an amazing job. We've set our bar pretty high, and we've smashed those numbers and set records in the trustee's office. Had the best collections that we've had in decades. Now we're moving to the point where it's time to move the technological advancement towards the office. And we've been trying to do some of that with our new website that's out now and some things that we're doing with our software provider. But, you know, we've brought government to the people. We're going to continue doing that and taking care of the Knox County citizens. It's time for a re-election.
Mr. Hawkins, why are you running?
I've been in that office I was in there for 18 years. After that, I sold commercial real estate for 10. And presently, I'm working for the Knox County Property Assessor's Office. But the main issues that's surrounding right now that Knox County citizens are mad about is term limits and the misuse of funds that's going on. Nick McBride is Register of Deeds right now, and he's seeking to become the Knox County Trustee, in which we have term limits. Why do we have term limits if these people keep jumping from office to office? And Justin, with his misuse of funds, I mean, with the leasing of the $60,000 trucks, the expensive hotel rooms he gets, it's just accountability, what this is all about.
Well, we'll give both of them a chance to respond. John North, we can do that with your question.
Barry, that's a great segue. Thank you so much. Let's just acknowledge the gorilla in the room, which has to deal with an internal county audit and then also the comptroller's office, which in the summertime said there were some problems in your office, Justin, dealing with the use of trucks and some being used for personal use, and then also questions about travel expenses while going to events in Nashville, primarily, I think. Gentlemen, we want to talk to all of you about that. I should also mention with the trucks, the county has 6 leased trucks, I believe, that are at your use. I asked the other day with the county just what's the situation with them, and one of them hasn't been used since November. It's just sitting there according to GPS. A couple other haven't gotten much use lately. Maybe $1,500 a month the county is paying for those, taxpayers. Justin, we'll start with you. This happened under your watch. What have you done to address this and ensure it won't happen if you're reelected?
I'm very thankful that you've asked this question. I've been actually waiting for the opportunity to be able to talk about it, where it won't be cut out, won't be edited. Unfortunately, some media snip specific things and don't put out the full thing. So I really appreciate the unedited response. So whenever I came into office, we were looking at serving the people of Knox County. And that's one of my huge initiatives that I brought into the office. One of the things that I don't think everyone realizes is there's not a lot of fee offices that actually goes out and actually contacts the people, the senior citizens, the disabled veterans, the people that are delinquent in their property taxes. So we started a mobile office program. Unfortunately, due to some things that came up in the media with some of the media, they tried to skew that program in a negative connotation, and it's not. What people don't realize is we've done $26 million in delinquencies because of those trucks, going out, cleaning up blighted properties, doing everything we possibly can for our delinquents, our tax sales, where we've had the largest tax sales in Knox County history. No trustee has ever had one the size that we've ever had. We've served thousands of elderly, people that are on tax relief, tax freeze, and disabled veterans benefits. So it's not like those trucks are just out being, willy-nilly done whatever with. Whenever I started it, I said this is a pilot program to see how many we need, to see what they can do, so we can reassess into our second term.
But
that's
the
what we're
comptroller found that some of them were being used for incorrect purposes.
Yes.
And now we know that at least a couple of them are not being used much at all. One is sitting there. We're paying the lease on it, and it's not even being used. Hasn't since
In
November.
fairness, Justin, the trucks are actually higher in cost than anything we've ever had, and over what the county regs generally mandate in terms of purchase or lease of a vehicle. So why would you have to have such an expensive truck?
In 2022, at the end of 2022, I went and I asked about the enterprise rental agreement. It was a new program that we started in the Knox County government as a whole. And I said, I need something that is four-wheel drive that'll make sure that we can go out, we can go to every single person that calls, no matter the inclement weather or whatever we can do, to make sure that we have four-wheel drive. I said we need an opportunity to have a truck, to have trucks that can go out and service the community and its people. And so whenever I was approached with what they had and what the enterprise rental agreement offered at the time, that's what we chose at the time.
Was there another vendor other than Enterprise that could have been shopped?
I don't think that's allowed. I do not think that that's allowed. You have to go through the enterprise rental agreement. It was to the best of my knowledge. And
if I'm hearing you correctly, you don't think that there was a misuse of funds. This is a program you called a pilot project, and it did what it was supposed to do. Is that what I'm understanding?
And now what we're doing is we're looking at the contract to go back in within the next month, and we're going to see if we can't reduce the size of some of those vehicles. That's why one of them has been parked for a little while, to make sure that we don't need it. Actually, I'm trying to reduce it by 2. And what I'd like to see is I'd like to see a smaller type SUV put in there that other fee offices have, so we can do our bank pickups, because we do our own bank pickups as well. I forgot to mention that as well. So.
Let's bring in Nick McBride. We can talk about the other specifics as well, but
Sure.
I want to give you a chance to respond as well.
If I'm elected trustee, I will park the trucks immediately. I will call Enterprise, tell them that we do not need those trucks in the trustee's office, and assign those leases over to the highway department, and hopefully Jim Snowden can utilize those vehicles. I'm sure he won't use those expensive Chevy ZR1 pickup trucks that the trustee's office has.
There were some concerns raised at the beginning about the expense.
Yeah, I think they're very expensive. I mean, you can buy a $40,000 pickup truck, but yet we lease $60,000 and $80,000 pickup trucks. During COVID, I was all over this county in my vehicle picking up deeds from title companies. If you remember, we were doing closings out in the parking lot under tents, and the real estate market was just on fire. And that's one of the reasons why Justin has collected so much money during his delinquency, is because we saw the most appreciation in real estate in history. And he did have one tax sale, but unfortunately he didn't have one last year. And that's really a big disadvantage to property owners, by not having that sale to flush that property out. Sometimes it's not because they can't afford the taxes, they've got title issues. And so a tax sale does numerous things.
We're going to pick up on this discussion. We've got to take a quick break on Inside Tennessee. We'll bring you in the discussion as well, Mr. Hawkins, right after this on Inside Tennessee. We are joined this morning by 3 candidates, all Republicans who'd like to be the next trustee in Knox County. John?
Before we went to commercial, we were talking about what would be done, Barry, if you got elected, to address questions you mentioned about use of the trucks, and also I think you alluded to the travel expenses and questionable public expenses. So if you're elected, how are you going to address things like that?
I mean, the lease trucks, it's a money pit. Because you got the lease, you got mileage, you're going to have to pay on that for high mileage on your lease. Fuel and maintenance. When I was in there for 18 years, we either had a gas allowance or mileage, 1 to 2. Cost efficient, you don't have to release anything or anything like that. I think all this mobile stuff and going out to see people, I think that's just to justify the high mileage that they put on these trucks, driving them everywhere myself.
I want to talk a little bit about what the trustee's office does. We talk about $1 billion that's collected and invested on behalf of taxpayers in this county. I've always thought that job really should be held by someone with a banking background, a business background, a financial background, something that gives you the ability to understand the investments and to make sure that that's being invested wisely. what are your backgrounds for that? I really am curious if any of you have business degrees, finance degrees, certifications in finance, anything that would qualify you to actually run this billion-dollar business.
Let's start at the end there,
with
Mr.
Mary.
Hawkins.
I mean, it's three basic principles. We collect, we deposit, and we invest. And that's mandated by the Finance Committee upstairs.
So you're just handling
You're saying you
the
don't
money.
need any
You don't need
professional
the
expertise
background?
to have the
Yes,
job.
you do, but you're on the board up there, and you're giving your input, but they're making the final decisions.
Doesn't it give voters greater assurance, though, if you've got like special certification or a college
sir.
degree?
Something.
And let me ask,
I mean,
what is your educational background?
Right.
What
I was at
degrees, if any, you
UT,
received, and certifications?
Liberal arts at UT, and I got associates from Rome State.
Okay.
Justin, your background? I know you have experience there. You've worked there for a long time.
2 decades. Yeah. So one of the things that the trustee's office does is, obviously, we're a steward of the Knox County people's money, and we just touched on that. And for the record, I'm not going to cut services of helping our disabled veterans and our elderly through tax relief and tax freeze. That is a big portion of the opportunity to be trustee, but also you have to invest wisely. Whenever I become trustee, we only had $2 million in our investment portfolio. I've got it up to $50 million. We've done $39.8 million in investing since I've been the trustee, the highest we've ever done. That's money that's going back into the general fund off of our interest through our First Bank account and other accounts. One of the things that people don't realize is whenever you're talking about investing and working with your partners, we work with Raymond James. One of the top investors in the country is Raymond James, and the person that we work with, Stephen Rosen, does an amazing job for us and with us. I'm very grateful for that. Also, I talked with Director Caldwell about some of the proper investing and things where whenever they do mature, it's going to be an opportunity to see where we're at financially. So when I spoke on the $26 million in delinquencies, and now I've talked about the nearly $40 million in proper money that we've invested properly for $40 million, that's money that helps Knox County, that helps our teachers, that helps our police department, that helps everybody across the board. And as far as education, I graduated from Carnes High School. Whenever I left Carnes High School, I started working in the Knox County Trustee's office shortly after that, and I've been there for quite some time now and worked my rank up from the bottom all the way to the top to being the trustee now.
Nick.
Thank you for the question. Like I said a minute ago, I've worked in the Register of Deeds office almost all my life. I graduated from Farragut High School in 1988, started in the office in '89. And while working in the Register of Deeds office, I've taken extensive training, started training at the University of Tennessee for public officials so that you know things to do and separation of duties. Comptroller has classes and things of that nature. While working in the Registrar's office, I got 2 associate degrees from Roane State Community College, and I got a bachelor from Tusculum University. And most recently, I've gotten two designations I'm very proud of. One is the Certified Financial Officer, which is paid for and is taught by the Comptroller's Office and the University of Tennessee. And just 2 months ago, I graduated from the county CPM program, which is recognized by 42 states in the country. It is a 300 individual intensive learning program plus 12 sessions a year plus a capstone program at the end. So I have lots of experience and also have served as treasurer for quite a few nonprofits. Also served on the retirement board. I was chairman of the investment committee, and we're talking about billions of dollars there in investing.
So, Justin, I want to finish with the elephant in the room
Yes,
questions
sir.
that we started with. Another fee office holder was indicted for felony misuse of public funds.
Yes, sir.
And his case seemed virtually identical to the case that was presented on you, and that was the misuse of the vehicles and the claiming, I believe, of mileage on vehicles that you were not entitled to. And in fact, you paid some of that money back. Mm-hmm. Distinguish your case, your particular case, from the other fee office holder who in fact was indicted for the very same conduct. What's different about your case?
It was looked at by audit. It was looked at by internal audit. It was
Talking about before the grand jury, the facts that would get presented.
Yep.
What facts are different? I know it was looked at by other bodies, but what was different from your case and the fee office holder that did get indicted?
Yep. Mine was driven to, I was on the County Officials Association of Tennessee. It's a board in the state of Tennessee. That's why I was going back and forth to Nashville. That's why I learned about some of the new programs that I haven't even mentioned that we brought back and have done millions of dollars with. So I was actually going to the classes and things of that nature. Whenever, it's my understanding, I don't have all the details of the other fee office holder, but I think he drove it about 155 times, where you could count on mine on two hands. You know,
so it was the quantity, your position likely,
yeah,
that you didn't do it very much.
No, and then one of the things that was asked, and I apologize for it humbly, and I still apologize for it. I said, can I not take my county laptop and Wi-Fi card and printer and scanners and stuff like that to class and haul county property in a business vehicle to conduct business so I could learn and come back here and earn? And they said, no, you're not supposed to do that. And I said, well, I didn't know that you couldn't go to class and take county property with you in a county vehicle. And they said, no, you're not supposed to do that. And I said, okay. I said, let me know how much it is, and I want to pay it back. I want to pay it back. I didn't realize that.
And for similar conduct, if I'm correct, you had employees that, in fact, were charged with criminal offenses. Is that correct? One employee
that was doing things off the clock that I hadn't, no.
And you, of course, fired that employee, correct?
I did.
And that was tax sales, buying land that he knew about?
Well, what I was told was driving a vehicle before and after county hours. That's how it started. And that's why they were equipped with GPS, to ensure that safety clause in there. And then once I was told that, then they came back to me and they approached me and said, there's a possibility of this. There's a possibility that they were doing this. And so we looked at the vehicles and where they were going, and that's when I made the determination that it was time to, let that person go.
We've got to take another quick break on Inside Tennessee. Back with more of our conversation with 3 Republican candidates who'd like to be the next trustee in Knox County. Back with that right after this. Back on Inside Tennessee with the 3 Republicans for trustee in Knox County. And Susan, full disclosure.
Full disclosure, I have a granddaughter that works in the Register of Deeds office, and she's been there a couple of years, so wanted to make sure everybody understood that.
Okay.
And I have a question following that.
Please do.
This is a campaign, and you all are all in now. Some of you have maybe a couple of days to withdraw, but it seems like you're all going to be in. And it takes a lot of money to run for a county office. And I'm very curious. I know I've read an article that, Justin, you had from April last year until January this year, you hadn't raised anything, and you didn't have fundraisers. I don't know, but I assume by now everything is in full swing. We've
Yes.
got early voting starting in a little over a month. So I'm hoping that you all are out there campaigning, knocking on doors, sending out leaflets, whatever you're doing. But just curious, how much money have each of you raised in this campaign to date, and is it enough? Barry, I'll start with you.
Well, of course, I got in the race really late. And as of right now, I'm guessing, to be honest, I don't know, for $7,500, $8,000.
You think that's enough to win this race?
I'm working on more. And I know it's probably not, but I'm working on more, and more people are calling and getting involved. Yes, ma'am.
Justin?
Good question. When I ran for county commission and won, we raised as needed, right? And that worked for us. When I ran for trustee, we raised as needed. This time, it's a little bit different. We're not having to raise as need. As soon as that report come out, more people started calling, donations started pouring in. We're having our first fundraiser in about 2 weeks, and then we have another one scheduled right in the middle of early voting. So things are going great. I don't have a specific dollar amount.
Give us an estimate of what you have.
Yeah.
I would say anywhere from 10 to 12 right now, and we've spent probably 18.
You've spent 18, and so you raised some that you've had. You're not in debt, or have you loaned the campaign any money?
No. If I need to, I will, but we're not to that point. But I did raise money earlier, and then we've spent that out, and then we've raised some more, and we've spent that out. And we're putting up signs and doing other things that are planned to come in the next few weeks.
I've seen everybody's signs out.
I hope you like them.
Nick, what about you?
Actually, the fundraising has been great. We've had a lot of different donors give small amounts and big amounts, and I know we've raised over $50,000. I have a goal of $100,000. We have a couple fundraisers that are coming up in the next several weeks, and if need be, I will loan my campaign some money.
Okay.
So, Nick, let me ask a question.
Sure.
It was touched on by Barry early. term limits apply in Knox County for the fee office holders. They apply for the county mayor, a few other offices. Is there any violation of the spirit of what our community wanted and what we try to do by the fact that bouncing office, and my good friend Sherry Witt, she's on her third, you're on at least your second, and I think there are people that look at that and say, wait a minute, that's a little too revolving door for what we wanted. What do you say to that criticism?
Well, I think if we look back at the term limits when it was passed, it was Newt Gingrich in Washington, and we were passed.
Well, it wasn't Newt Gingrich for Knox County.
No, I know, but
I might argue it was Herb Monsieur, if you remember back in the day.
That was the movement, is what I was saying. And this is the first time I've gone from one office to another. I think that my knowledge and my education through UT, training officials and training county employees, I think I'm the most qualified candidate for this job. I really do. And so the public, I think, has an opportunity to vote for the most qualified, and I think I am that person. And I do not think that it's against the spirit. We're not policymakers. Commissioners are policymakers. Mayors are policymakers. But I just don't see that an elected official is a policymaker.
Well, some have said that the fee offices are fiefdoms, but that's for another day.
Well, yeah, we can talk about that, but not anymore. The comptroller has made sure that we're not, and we have tons of checks and balances. That's one of the reasons
you
why
set your budget. You can, and there's been criticism, Justin, of you for the salaries that you paid and the people you've hired, but that's true, frankly, of any fee office holder has had some of that nepotism, some of that take care of your friends, set the salaries. Yes, there's some oversight, certainly, but there are some concerns about that as well.
We have got to run, but Justin, quickly, because this will serve probably at least a few hundred people, give them the number, because the increase in the benefits that some people may receive have gone up.
Yes, we had an opportunity to increase the benefits to $60,000. If you want to call 215-2305, our phone operators will help you with the tax freeze program. If you're over the age of 65 and make under $60,000 per household, it's actually $61,000 now. We bumped it up a little bit more, but we would greatly appreciate it. Welcome everybody with open arms. If you're mobility limited, we will bring a mobile office program vehicle out to your residence and sign you up in person.
Barry Hawkins, we appreciate your time
Thank
this
you,
morning. Justin Biggs, Nick McBride, all candidates. Watch for them. We'll have much more coverage on the election. We'll be back with our talk around with Don, Susan, and John right after this. Back with our What's the Gossip, a little nod to Dennis Francis. Don Bosch, why are fee offices important?
Well, they really do conduct a large portion of the business for the county, whether it's managing the deeds, whether it's managing tax collections, whether it's managing the investment of monies, whether it's the county clerk issuing driver's licenses and titles. They do a lot of the nuts and bolts work. I think one of the two concerns, and Susan and I have talked about it. One, the fiefdom, as I call it, each one of these fee office holders really do have their own little kingdom, and they can hire who they want, fire who they want, pay what they want within their budget, and they can increase their budget. They self-serve. In other words, they fund their office through monies they collect. And then, two, this revolving door, and I'll kick that to Susan to talk about.
Yeah, we've got not only these people that are running again, but you've got for the clerk's office, you have John Whitehead, who has been property assessor. He's running for that. You have John Duncan III, who had served as the trustee until he was forced to resign. He's running again. You said Rhonda Lee, commissioner's running.
J.J. Jones.
J.J. is running again.
Former county commissioner running.
So,
for
yeah, we tend to recycle a lot of folks in our
But the
county
community
government.
has been rejecting a number of those
Sometimes.
people. They haven't. Sherry Witt, bulletproof, and she's always done a really good job.
She doesn't have an opponent.
No,
She's
she
elected.
doesn't. She's always been well liked and does good work.
Appreciate the perspective, and we're going to have more election conversation and analysis from Don, Susan, and John in the upcoming weeks, because May is quickly approaching. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. We'll see you back here next week.